We have been hearing many stories about the second coming of Jesus, with signs from the Bible to prove that it is getting closer. How many of you like arithmetic in school? More often today it is called math. I'm sure that some of you like it and some do not, but let me tell you that arithmetic is very important to know. William Miller liked arithmetic very much, and he even found some arithmetic problems in the Bible. In fact, he found such a big and difficult arithmetic problem that it took him a long time to figure it out. Nobody else had ever figured it out before, and most people did not even know it was in the Bible. This problem was so hard that Mr. Miller spent many days and nights prayerfully studying it for a long, long time. Mr. Miller spent most of his time studying the Bible. He found this big problem in Daniel 8:1. A vision appeared unto me, even unto me, Daniel. So we can see that Daniel was having a vision from God, which is something like the dream that King Nebuchadnezzar had. Then Daniel heard someone speaking in the vision. Verse 13 says, Then Daniel heard one saint speaking, and another saint said, How long shall be the vision? Today we would say, how long before the things in this vision will happen? Verse 14 was the verse that Mr. Miller was especially interested in because it answered the question, how long? And he said unto me, Unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. The Bible says that after Daniel had seen the vision, he was anxious to know what it meant. In the vision, a man stood before Daniel. Suddenly, Daniel heard a voice saying, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. Gabriel is the most important angel in heaven. He is sometimes called the messenger angel because he has brought so many messages from God to people living on this earth. We remember the story about how Gabriel came to Zacharias, telling him that he would have a son and that he should name him John. He said, I am Gabriel that stand in the presence of God, and am sent to speak unto thee, and to show thee these glad tidings. We can see that Daniel's vision was very important if God sent Gabriel all the way from heaven to explain it to him. And this is what Gabriel said to Daniel. Behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the end, for at the time appointed the end shall be. Now we can understand why Mr. Miller was so interested in this prophecy. It was because he thought it would tell when the end of the world would be and just when Jesus would come. Unto 2,300 days then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. Mr. Miller read in Numbers 14:34 that when you are talking about time in prophecy, one day really means 1 year. After the number of days in which he searched the land, even 40 days, each day for a year, even 40 years. So Mr. Miller believed that the 2,300 days really meant 2,300 years, and then the sanctuary would be cleansed. But what was this sanctuary that was to be cleansed? Mr. Miller believed that this earth was the sanctuary to be cleansed of sin. He thought the end of the 2,300 years was the time of the great judgment, when this earth would be cleansed of sin. He also thought that Jesus would come at that time and take the good people to heaven. In Revelation 14:6 and 7, Mr. Miller read, "And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation, and kindred, and people, and tongue." And this is what the angel was saying with a loud voice: "Fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come." 2,300 years is a long time, thought Mr. Miller. But if he could find out just when the 2,300 years began, then he could figure out just when it would end, and then he would know just what year this great judgment would take place, and Jesus would come. Oh, how he studied and prayed. He just had to know when this was going to happen. Mr. Miller searched the Bible and found in Ezra 7 that this 2,300-year prophecy began way back in 457 BC. Now he was happy. He knew when the 2,300 years began. But Daniel saw many other things in his vision that would happen before the end of the 2,300 years. It was just like he was looking at a big picture. And now I'm going to make that picture for us to see on the next slide. Some of this time prophecy happened in the BC years, which means before Christ was born, and some happened in the AD years, which means after Christ was born. The children of Israel had been captive in Babylon for 70 years now. Daniel was a young boy when he was taken captive. He is now an old man when Gabriel is sent to him to explain the vision of Daniel 8. In verse 925 we are told that from the going forth of the command to restore and build Jerusalem, the 2,300-year prophecy begins. King Artaxerxes of Persia commanded in 457 BC that the work should be started. This decree began our time prophecy. Daniel was also shown the exact year Jesus would be baptized and begin his work of teaching and healing the people. That was the year 27 AD. The next picture Daniel saw was Jesus hanging on the cross, and he saw just the year this would happen, which was 31 AD. Now we are beginning to see just why Mr. Miller had to study so hard to figure out all these dates and just what would happen each time. There was another picture that Daniel saw. I think we still remember the Bible story about how the Jews were persecuting the Christians and how they took stones and threw them at Stephen until he died because he was preaching about Jesus. Saul was there also, and he had been persecuting the Christians too. But after Stephen was stoned in 34 AD, Saul learned to love Jesus. He changed his name to Paul and became a great missionary, going everywhere teaching the Gentiles and the Jews about Jesus. Mr. Miller kept on studying and praying and figuring with his paper and pencil until he thought he had all the right answers to the big arithmetic problem. It seemed to Mr. Miller that almost all things Daniel had seen in the vision had already happened, except the very last thing. The sun had already been darkened, and the moon had been red like blood in 1780. The stars had fallen in 1833. So now it must be that Jesus would come in 1844, because the prophecy had said, "Unto 2,300 days or years, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed." Mr. Miller felt sure the last date should be 1844, when Jesus was coming to judge the world and take all the good people to heaven. Before long, almost everyone was talking about this great event. Many people believed that Jesus was indeed coming in 1844. They confessed their sins and tried to do what was right every day. But some of the people laughed at Mr. Miller and made fun of him, just as the people did when Noah tried to warn them about the flood. Ellen and her family attended these meetings, and they were very happy with the way Mr. Miller proved everything from the Bible. They sincerely believed that Jesus was coming in 1844. This was the happiest year of Ellen's life, for she was truly expecting to see Jesus come on October 22nd, 1844.